Okay, I want to try something with you here very quickly, and this is going to blow your mind. I promise. This is going to totally blow your mind. I've got a deck of cards here, and I want you to select a card. I just want you to tell me when to stop. Just tell me when to stop at any point, wherever you want. Right there? At this spot right here? Okay, good. I want you to memorize that card at the break that you made. Okay, so you got that card. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something crazy. No magician would ever do this. I want you to shuffle the deck. I'm not even going to look at it. I just want you to shuffle the deck up. So you'll give it to the spectator, and they'll shuffle the deck. Just like this. They might shuffle it as much as they want. So you can shuffle it. You can give it to somebody else and shuffle it. Anything you want. So there's no way that I could know what your card is. I don't know where it is in the deck. I didn't look at the deck after you picked your card. You picked it freely. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it here very quickly. I'm going to find your selection. So let me take a look. I'll take the deck, and I'm going to find. Now, you shuffled it, so there's no way I should know where it's at. But I think I can get your card here. So let me take a quick look here. No, I don't think so. No, I think it's this one. I'm going to go with that. Okay. Now, I just want to protect it here for a moment. I'm going to set it right underneath the card box so you can see it. Okay, very clearly. I think that's it. So let me just review what has happened here. You selected a card. You shuffled the deck after you put it back in. I did not handle the cards at all. You did everything, okay? And then when you gave the cards back to me, I found it. I found your card, and I've left it here for safekeeping. Nobody's touched it. It's been sitting there in plain view underneath the card box, okay? Now, I want you to see what's happened. I want you to see what's happened. This was my prediction right here. That's not your card. It wasn't the Joker. You see, I knew that. I knew that it wasn't the Joker. See, I keep my Jokers in my card box. I don't keep my Jokers in the deck. I keep them in the card box. And if you look inside the card box, you'll see that I've got 2 cards there, but one of the Jokers is missing. It's sitting out here. And what's happened is it switched places with your selected card, the 3 of spades. Okay, very quickly, this trick, I'm cheating a little bit here. There is an extra card that you have to use. I have another 3 of spades from another deck of cards. Now, I actually don't have 2 of these. I don't have 2 of these decks. So I had to use a different backed card. And rather than do this with another bicycle deck, I've got a lot of bicycle decks. I told you I was going to do this with cheap cards, right? And so I wanted to make sure I did that. I use the cards I've been using all the time. So what you would want to do is maybe buy 2 cheap decks, $1 a piece, and then you would use one for duplicates that you can use. And that's a really neat idea, is that you can make duplicates that have really funny messages on them and funny pictures, and you can do all kinds of interesting reveals by taking a spare deck and changing the cards in some way and writing things on them and having interesting messages. You can have a lot of fun and play around with that. In this case, the way I have this set up is I have one of my Jokers sitting on top of my spare card inside of the card box, and that's sitting off to the side. And then I have the Joker inside the deck anywhere that I want. Now I need to have my force card on the bottom for this particular force. So I take my 3 of spades. You can see it looks a little different from the other one because it's a different deck. But again, you would have a matching one. I take my 3 of spades and I put it on the bottom. And this has to start without a shuffle. And that's okay because you're going to have them shuffle in a minute anyway, and they'll probably forget the order of things when you get to the end of it. If you don't do it that way, another way to do it is to have it at the top and say that the cards are completely out of order. You might even do this, actually. Where's that Joker at? You might have the Joker second from the top, so it's out of the way and people don't see it. You can show the deck and say you can see everything is out of order. There's no order to it at all. And hold back the top stock of cards so they don't see it. And then you can go into your shuffling routine where you take off one card, say, look, I just want to shuffle this up a little bit so that we know that I don't know where any of the cards are at. Everything is in a very different position, okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to tell me when to stop. And then you go into your Hindu shuffle. Now, it's going to be forced because your card is now at the bottom. So wherever they say stop, you're going to say right here, and then you're going to show them the bottom card, and then you're going to drop it on top and then let them shuffle. And at this point, you actually don't need to know where it is because you're not really going to find their card anyway, and you already know what it is. You don't have to do any kind of controls. You don't have to do any kind of tricky moves. It's already been done in the force. So they shuffle, you take the cards back, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to look for the joker. So you're going to say, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to see if I can find it. It might, no, it's not that one. Do a little bit of acting, right? Make it look interesting. And when I get to my joker, I'm going to take the joker and I'm just going to lay it face down on the table. And then I'm immediately going to take the card box very openly and I'm going to set it on top of my joker. And then I'm going to do my review thing again. It's a really great misdirection to get people off balance and not thinking about what's going on. So I'm going to say, I might even tell a lie right at the beginning, right? That's what we do. We say, I had a shuffled deck of cards. It was completely shuffled, and then you picked a card from that. You selected a point, and you memorized that card, and we put that card away immediately, and I gave it back to you. I did not handle the cards at all. You shuffled the cards, and then I found a card in there that I think is a prediction for the card that you selected. So let's take a look and see what happened, and then you do the reveal. You turn it over and allow them to say, no, that's not it. And you can say, well, yes, I know that's not it. That's not the card, because you can see what happens is I keep my jokers inside of the card box. And you see, if we look in here, there are 2 cards in there. One of them is the other joker, and you can see what's happened is that the joker has switched place with your card, and then you can reveal it in that way. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you another trick here in a moment that can make this trick even better. Okay, now this is the basic way to show it. Now, you end what we call dirty, and this is why. If you take the deck and you look through the deck, you'll see that we would find another 3 of spades, okay, and that's called ending dirty. In a moment here, in fact, I can't find it now, that's kind of funny, but here it is, 3 spades. That's called ending dirty. I want to show you another trick here in a moment that ends really clean. Very similar kind of presentation, a different ending to it, but it ends really, really clean, okay, so I'll show that to you here in a moment. Okay, we're going to try something unusual here. I've got a deck of cards here. And I just want to show you that it's all out of order. There's nothing to this. There's no particular order to it. And just to make sure that you believe me and that you feel like you have a free selection, we're going to use your name. So let's say your name is Susie Smith. Susie Smith. We're just going to spell that out. SUSIESMITH. So the number of cards here that we've dealt off up to this point right here is unique to you. It spells out your name, Susie Smith. So what I want you to do, though, very quickly, is take a look at the card that we ended up at, and I want you to memorize that card, okay? So you've got that card memorized, and we're just going to put it right back into the deck, and we don't know where it's at. In fact, I'll have you cut the deck again, if you don't mind. Just cut the deck yourself. Maybe we'll have somebody else cut. Can you cut over here? Maybe have somebody else cut the deck over there. We'll cut it up quite a few times to make sure that we don't know where it's at. Okay, so I don't know where it's at. It could be anywhere. I don't even know how to find it. But what we're going to do here very quickly is we're going to locate the card in a manner of speaking. And I'm actually going to find the card by losing it. Now let me show you what I mean by that. If we look through the cards, you'll see that your card, if you're thinking of your card is missing. Your card is not in there at all. Now the cards have been in front of you the whole time. The cards have been sitting in plain view the whole time. But it's gone. It is gone. It's not in the deck at all anymore. I also want to point out that this card box has been sitting out here the whole time as well. And I like to keep a couple cards in here. I like to keep the jokers in my card box. But you'll notice that I have my jokers in here, and there's one card sitting in between them. Just one card sitting right between. If we take a look, we found your lost card, the King of Clubs. Okay, so very quickly, this trick is a really good one. And it uses something extra. Now, first you're asking me, why do I have a different deck here? I have to use this deck because I have to use a duplicate, and we're going to have to look at the back side of the card. So I couldn't use the other deck. I'm sorry, I don't have a duplicate of this here. So to present it now, you could do this trick with any quality deck as long as you have a duplicate card to go with it. So again, you're going to have 2 decks. Now, the way I set this up is I take another deck of cards and I take out the King of Clubs or whatever card I'm going to be using, and I put that face down in between my 2 jokers inside of the card box for the deck that I'm using. And then inside the deck, I've got a couple things going on. I've got a king, the King of Clubs from the deck is going to be sitting on top. And then underneath, on the very bottom, I have another card. So I have my King of Clubs on top. And underneath, I've got a card that's an indifferent card. This is an 8 of Spades. And on the back, I've used some of this. This is double stick tape, Scotch double stick tape. This will not ruin your cards, I promise you. It works very well in plastic-coated cards, and even the cheap cards these days are plastic-coated. So I take a little square of it, just a tiny little square, and it's sitting right in the middle there on the circle of that pattern. And what I did is I put that little square on, and then I took my shirt and I rubbed it on my shirt, dabbed it and rubbed it on my shirt very lightly to pick up some lint. And that does a couple things. It'll kind of dull out the stickiness a little bit so that it doesn't stick quite as well. It's still sticky, but it won't stick very, very well to anything. It won't stick in such a way that you can't pull it apart very easily, okay? So you'll want to do that and you'll want to test it out. This is what we call a gaffed card. This is a gaffed card. A gaffed card is a card in the deck that's been altered in some way such that it'll help you pull off an effect. Okay, so it's been prepared. So a gaffed card. It's a new term you can use in your learning magic. Okay, I'm going to have my gaffed card with my sticky tape on the bottom. And I'm going to have it sitting lightly. I'm not going to press hard on that. I'm just going to have it sitting there because I want to be able to get it apart easily. Then I've got my force card on the top. Now, the force that I used for this was the counting force, and the way I did it is I used the person's name. And this is a good way to really offset what's going on so that they're not thinking about what's happening. So you get their name and you spell it out. S-U-S-I-E-S-M-I-T-H, Susie Smith. And of course, I am forcing the top card because that's at the bottom of the pack, the first one that I put out. So I spell out their name and then I'm going to show it to them and I'll say, this is the card, this is where we left off at. You'll also notice I took that pack and I set it crisscrossed on there. That helps with that crisscross illusion as well, to kind of get them to think that this is a break that they stopped at. But I'll show them that card. That's the card that they remember. Now, when I place this pack back down onto the table, I've picked up the rest of the cards, and I need to get a separation between my card with the sticky tape and the rest of the deck. And I don't draw any attention to this. It's just something that I do. What I do is when I pick it up, as I'm talking to them about the fact that they spelled out their name and we ended up at that card and I want them to memorize it, I bevel the deck towards myself. So I just kind of spread them out in my fingers so it's easier for me to thumb down just that one card and get a separation on it. Once I've done that, I'm going to make a break there with my fingers, and I'm going to take the rest of the deck and I'm going to pick it up kind of at this angle, and I'm going to set it down on the table, and then I'm going to take my one card and put it on top. Now, to them, without drawing attention to it, while I'm talking about this, it looks like I cut the deck. I didn't. I cut really just at one card, so I'm getting my card back on top. So I cut like that. It looks like I cut the deck. I don't draw any attention to it. And then I take their packet, and this is as close to sleight of hand as we've gotten so far doing this one maneuver. So there's a little bit of risk in that. I'm going to take then their cards, and I'm going to set them on top of it. Now what it does is it puts their card, their force card, against the sticky tape. Now I'm going to square this up, and I'm going to give it a press right in the middle. I'm going to press the deck in the middle to make sure that that card sticks to the sticky tape card. Now at this point I can have people cut the deck as many times as we want. So I can have them cut, I can have someone else cut. They will not cut at the sticky tape. It'll stick to it whenever they pick up and cut. Now at this point I can turn the deck over, and it's important that you have this kind of in full view. I hope that was in camera view the whole time, but it was sitting on the table. The card box should be out there so people can see it. Not drawing attention to it, but it's sitting in the open. At this time, I can now spread. Now, I want to do this fairly gently because I don't want to separate my sticky card and the force card. But it should stick very squarely to that card. You can even spread it, if you have a tablecloth, you can spread it out like this without having breakups happen. But otherwise, if you're doing it in the hands on a hard table, you can just spread like this, groups of cards out, and that card will go right by with a sticky card. And you can say, you're thinking of your card, but you'll notice that it's not in there. It's gone. It's nowhere to be seen. And at the very end, you might try to spread that out. And you can say, look, it is not there. It is gone. It is missing from the deck. And this deck has been in full view the entire time. You have all cut the deck. Nobody's really handled it in any great way, but it's gone. And I just want to show you that this card box has been sitting out in the open the whole time too. And if we look inside, I keep my jokers in there. And in between my two jokers, you'll find that there's one card upside down, and if we turn that over, you see sandwiched between the jokers is your selection. So that's a reveal. Now, you can use this idea of sticky tape to make any card vanish from a deck when you're using a duplicate. Okay, this is a really, really great method that doesn't require really any skill. It's just preparation. And without turning the deck over to be handled, you can show it fairly freely that a card has disappeared using just some double stick tape on a card. This is such a good method that I've seen professionals use this. If you've seen the television show Penn and Teller Fool Us on television, if you watch that show, you're allowed to watch that one. I've seen more than one effect fool Penn and Teller using double stick tape. So very, very simple kind of idea that anybody can do. A kid can do this. You just need to get some double stick tape and use it on a gaffed card and then have a duplicate. So I could make this card show up anywhere and make a card disappear in there just by forcing it. So really good idea. Double stick tape using the counting force and a gaff card. So good luck with that.